Hey everyone, Elizabeth here. The Last Laugh delivers stories that leave you speechless. If you're here for it, hit subscribe and let's go. The first time I saw the Tesla was at my parents' anniversary party. My brother Derek pulled up in a brand new Model S, midnight blue with custom wheels. Our father whistled appreciatively. Our mother clapped her hands together like he'd won an award. Derek, when did you get this? Mom rushed to admire it, running her hand along the hood. Last week, Derek said, grinning. Finally pulled the trigger. I've been wanting one for years. Must have cost a fortune, Dad said, but he was smiling. Proud. Business must be doing well. Getting there, Derek said vaguely. Things are looking up. I stood on the porch of what everyone called the family house, the home we'd grown up in, the 3-bedroom ranch in suburban Portland that held 30 years of memories, and watched my family fawn over Derek's new car. Nobody asked me how I was doing. Nobody commented on the fact that I'd driven 6 hours from Seattle to be there. Nobody noticed the circles under my eyes from working 70-hour weeks at the law firm. But Derek's Tesla? That got a standing ovation. Rachel. Mom finally noticed me. Come see your brother's car. Isn't it beautiful? I walked down the steps and dutifully admired the vehicle. It was nice. Probably $95,000 worth of nice. How'd you afford this? I asked Derek quietly. He shrugged. Smart investments. Good timing. You know how it is. I didn't know how it was. Derek's consulting business had been struggling for 3 years. He'd borrowed money from our parents twice. Asked me for a loan last Christmas that I'd reluctantly given him, $8,000 he'd promised to pay back in 6 months. That was 8 months ago. I hadn't seen a single dollar. Well, it's gorgeous, I said, because that's what you say. Congratulations. The party continued inside. 50 guests celebrating 40 years of my parents' marriage. I helped set up, served appetizers, cleaned plates. Derek held court in the living room, telling stories about his car's autopilot feature and the vacation he'd just booked to the Maldives. The Maldives? Aunt Sharon said. Derek, you're living the dream. Just need to celebrate life while we can, Derek said. I've been working so hard lately. Needed a break. I thought about my own vacation time. The 2 weeks I'd accrued but couldn't take because we were in the middle of a massive case. The weekend trips I'd cancelled. The life I'd put on hold. Nobody asked me about any of that. At the end of the night, while I was washing dishes, Derek came into the kitchen. Hey, sis. Can we talk? Sure, I said, not looking up from the soapy water. I need you to sign some papers. About the house. I turned off the water. What papers? Mom and Dad want to update the deed. Put both our names on it officially. You know, estate planning stuff. The lawyer drew up documents. Just needs our signatures. Why didn't Mom and Dad mention this? They didn't want to bother you with boring legal stuff. You deal with that all day at work. I told them I'd handle it. He pulled a folder from his messenger bag. Inside were official-looking documents with the county seal, property descriptions, legal language about transfer of ownership. I don't understand, I said, scanning the pages. This looks like a transfer deed, not adding us to the existing deed. Same thing, Derek said quickly. Just different legal language. The lawyer explained it. Something about tax purposes. Just sign where the sticky tabs are. Something felt off. But I was tired. It was 11 p.m. I'd been up since 5 a.m. to make the drive. And these were official documents with a notary seal already on them. Where are Mom and Dad's signatures? I asked. Already signed. They did it last week. Now they just need ours to finalize everything. I should have read every word. I should have taken the documents to my own office to review. I should have questioned why this was happening at 11 p.m. at an anniversary party. But I was exhausted. And Derek was my brother. And it was just estate planning. I signed where the sticky tabs indicated. 3 pages. Quick signatures. Rachel Martinez in my usual handwriting. Perfect, Derek said, sliding the folder back into his bag. Thanks, sis. This helps Mom and Dad a lot. When do I get copies? Lawyer will mail them to both of us once everything's filed. He hugged me, brief, one-armed, and went back to the party. I finished the dishes and drove back to Seattle the next morning, thinking nothing more about it. 3 weeks later, I got a call from an unknown number. Ms. Martinez? This is Patricia Chen from Cascade Title Company. I'm calling about the property at 2847 Oakmont Drive. That's my parents' house, I said, confused. Is something wrong? We're handling the sale of the property. Closing is scheduled for October 18th. I'm calling to confirm your attendance. My stomach dropped. Sale? What sale? The property is being sold to the Morrison family for $680,000. We have all the required documentation, including the transfer deed with your signature and your brother's signature. We just need to schedule the closing. I didn't authorize any sale, I said, my voice rising. Nobody told me the house was being sold. Ma'am, I have your signature right here on the transfer deed dated September 2nd. You transferred the property from your parents to yourself and your brother Derek Martinez. Then your brother initiated the sale as co-owner. The anniversary party. The documents Derek had me sign at 11 p.m. I need to see those documents, I said. Right now. I can email them to you, but Ms. Martinez, if there's a problem, we need to know immediately. The buyers have already been approved for their mortgage. We have a signed purchase agreement. She sent the documents. I opened them with shaking hands. There it was. Transfer deed. Property at 2847 Oakmont Drive transferred from Robert and Linda Martinez to Derek Martinez and Rachel Martinez, joint tenants. My signature. Right where Derek had put the sticky tabs. But I'd thought I was signing estate planning documents. Not a full property transfer. And definitely not authorization to sell. I called Derek. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. On the fifth try, he answered. Hey, Rachel. What's up? What's up? What's up? You forged documents to steal Mom and Dad's house. I didn't forge anything, Derek said calmly. You signed the transfer deed. I have your signature. You told me it was estate planning. You said Mom and Dad wanted both our names on the deed. And I put both our names on it. That's what the document says. Not my fault you didn't read what you signed. You tricked me. I gave you legal documents and you signed them. You're a lawyer, Rachel. You should have read them more carefully. My hands were shaking with rage. Where are Mom and Dad? Do they know about this? They're fine with it. The house is too much for them to maintain anyway. I'm selling it, splitting the profit, and using their share to set them up in a nice condo. You're lying. Mom would never agree to sell that house. Call her and ask, Derek said. Then he hung up. I called my mother. She answered on the first ring, her voice cheerful. Rachel. How are you, honey? Mom, is Derek selling the house? A pause. What? No. Why would you think that? Title company just called me. Derek's selling the house for $680,000. Closing is in 2 weeks. That's impossible. The house is in our name. Derek can't sell it without our permission. He had me sign transfer documents. He said they were estate planning papers. He said you and Dad wanted both our names on the deed. We never said that. Mom's voice rose in pitch. We never talked to any lawyer about the deed. Rachel, what's going on? Derek forged documents, Mom. He tricked me into signing a property transfer, then put the house up for sale. He already spent the down payment, that's where the Tesla came from. And the vacation. The line went quiet. Then I heard my mother crying. The next 48 hours were chaos. My parents confronted Derek. He claimed he was helping them by selling the house before they got too old to maintain it. Said the money would give them security. Said he was doing them a favor. When they demanded he cancel the sale, he refused. I'm a co-owner now. I don't need your permission. The house is half mine, and I'm selling my half. You can't sell half a house. Dad shouted. Actually, I can sell the whole house and split proceeds. That's how joint tenancy works. Rachel signed the papers. She gave me that right. My father called me that night. Rachel, you need to stop this. You're a lawyer. Do something. I'm trying, Dad. But I signed those documents. I didn't read them carefully enough. Derek's technically right, I gave him co-ownership. So we just lose our home? Because your brother's a con artist? I heard the blame in his voice. Not for Derek. For me. I was the lawyer. I should have known better. I should have protected them. I'm going to fix this, I said. I promise. I spent the next week researching, calling attorney friends, reviewing property law. The truth was grim, I had signed a valid transfer deed. Derek and I were legal co-owners. He could initiate a sale. Unless. I requested a copy of the original transfer deed from the county. Not the one Patricia Chen had sent me, the actual filed document. It arrived on October 10th, 8 days before the scheduled closing. I stared at it for a full minute before I understood what I was seeing. The transfer deed Derek had filed showed the property transferring from Robert and Linda Martinez to Derek Martinez and Rachel Martinez. But the signature on the transfer deed, my parents' signatures, looked wrong. The handwriting was close but not quite right. My mother's L in Linda had a loop she never made. My father's R in Robert was too neat. Derek hadn't just tricked me. He'd forged our parents' signatures too. The property had never legally transferred to us at all. It still belonged to my parents. I called Patricia Chen at the title company. I need you to halt the closing immediately. I have evidence of forged signatures on the transfer deed. We can't just halt a closing without proof. I'm sending you exemplar signatures from my parents right now. Compare them to what's on the transfer deed Derek filed. They don't match. If that's true, we'll need to involve law enforcement. Forgery is a criminal offense. I know, I said. I'm a prosecutor. I'll be filing charges myself. The closing was scheduled for October 18 at 2 p.m. at Cascade Title Company's downtown office. The Morrison family, young couple with 2 kids, thrilled about their dream home, arrived at 1:45 p.m. Derek arrived at 1:50 p.m., wearing a new suit, looking confident. My parents arrived at 1:55 p.m. I'd told them to come but not why. I arrived at 2 p.m. exactly with my boss from the prosecutor's office and 2 police officers. Patricia Chen looked alarmed when we walked in. Ms. Martinez? What's going on? This closing isn't happening, I said. The property transfer deed that initiated this sale was fraudulent. Derek's face went pale. Rachel, what are you doing? What I should have done 3 weeks ago. Reading the documents carefully. I placed the evidence on the conference table. Original transfer deed with my parents' signatures. Exemplar signatures from documents we'd pulled from the county records. A notarized statement from a forensic handwriting expert. The signatures on the transfer deed are forged, I said. My brother forged my parents' signatures to transfer property he didn't own, then tricked me into co-signing by telling me it was estate planning paperwork. The property never legally transferred to us. My parents remain the sole owners. Patricia Chen looked at Derek. Mr. Martinez? Is this true? I don't. Derek looked around wildly. Rachel signed the papers. She's a lawyer. She knew what she was signing. I knew what you told me I was signing, I corrected. Estate planning documents. Not a property transfer. And more importantly, Mom and Dad never signed anything. You forged their signatures. That's insane. Why would I? Because you wanted the money, I interrupted. You spent the $68,000 down payment before the closing even happened. Tesla. Maldives vacation. Probably paid off some debts. You were banking on the sale going through before anyone noticed. Patricia pulled up documents on her computer, comparing signatures. Her face went from confused to horrified. Oh my God, she said. These signatures don't match at all. How did we miss this? Because you assumed the notary seal was legitimate, I said. Did you verify the notary? Patricia frantically typed. Then stopped. The notary license number on the seal doesn't exist. He faked that too, I said. Derek tried to stand up. His legs gave out. He literally couldn't stand. He slumped back in his chair, face white as paper, hands shaking. Mr. Morrison, Patricia turned to the buyers. I'm so sorry. This sale cannot proceed. The property was never legally available for purchase. Mrs. Morrison started crying. But we sold our condo. We're supposed to move in next week. You'll get your earnest money back, and you may have grounds to sue Mr. Martinez for fraud, Patricia said. I'm incredibly sorry for this situation. The police officers stepped forward. Derek Martinez, you're under arrest for forgery, fraud, and attempted grand theft. You have the right to remain silent. Derek's face crumpled. Rachel, please. I'm your brother. Don't do this. I'll pay everything back. I'll cancel the Tesla purchase. I'll make this right. You forged our parents' signatures, I said quietly. You stole their house. You spent $68,000 that wasn't yours. You committed multiple felonies. I can't make this go away, Derek. I won't. Mom. Dad. Derek turned to our parents desperately. Tell her to stop. Tell her not to press charges. I'm your son. My mother was crying. My father looked 10 years older than he had an hour ago. You tried to steal our home, Dad said, his voice breaking. Our home, Derek. Where you grew up. Where we raised you. And you were going to take it from us and leave us with nothing. I was going to give you money. I was going to set you up in a condo. With our own money from the sale of our own house? Mom's voice was sharp through her tears. That's not generosity, Derek. That's theft. The officers cuffed Derek and led him out. He was crying now, begging them to wait, to let him explain. The conference room fell silent after he left. Mr. Morrison spoke first. What happens now? The sale is void, Patricia said. You'll receive a full refund of your earnest money within 5 business days. I'll provide documentation of the fraud for your records. You'll need to restart your home search. We have 2 kids, Mrs. Morrison said quietly. We have nowhere to live in 6 days when our condo closes. My mother looked at her. Then at my father. Then at me. The house has 4 bedrooms, Mom said slowly. We only use 2. If you need temporary housing while you find something else, you could stay with us. Just until you get settled. Mrs. Morrison's face crumpled. You'd do that? After what happened? Your victim's here too, Dad said. And we have space. It's not your fault my son is a criminal. I watched my parents offer housing to the family Derek had tried to defraud and felt something shift in my chest. The legal proceedings took 4 months. Derek was charged with forgery, fraud, attempted grand theft, and notary fraud. The evidence was overwhelming. My signature on documents I'd been tricked into signing. My parents' forged signatures. The fake notary seal. The $68,000 he'd already spent. His lawyer tried to negotiate a plea deal. "Your brother could do serious prison time," the defense attorney told me. 5 to 10 years. "Is that what you want?" "I want justice," I said. "He didn't just commit fraud. He betrayed our entire family." The Tesla was repossessed. The Maldives vacation had already happened, $17,000 gone. Derek had spent another $23,000 paying off credit cards. The remaining $28,000 was frozen in his bank account, eventually returned to the Morrisons as partial compensation for their troubles. In February, Derek pleaded guilty to all charges. The judge sentenced him to 4 years in prison, 3 years probation, and ordered him to pay $150,000 in restitution to cover legal fees, the Morrisons' temporary housing costs, and damages to our parents. My mother cried at the sentencing. Dad sat stone-faced, refusing to look at Derek. Derek turned to me as they led him out. "I hope you're happy, Rachel. You destroyed your own brother." "You destroyed yourself," I said. "I just made sure you faced consequences." The Morrison family lived with my parents for 6 weeks before finding a new house. They left a thank you note and a gift basket. They still send Christmas cards. My parents sold the house 8 months later. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Too many bad memories. Too much associated with what Derek had tried to do. They bought a condo in Seattle, 20 minutes from my apartment. We have dinner every Sunday now. They ask about my work. They notice when I'm tired. They see me in ways they never did before. "I'm sorry," Mom said one Sunday. "For always favoring Derek. For not seeing what he was. For not appreciating you." "I'm sorry I didn't read those documents more carefully," I said. "You trusted your brother," Dad said. "That's not something to apologize for." But I learned something valuable. Trust isn't the same as blind faith. Family doesn't mean accepting being taken advantage of. Love doesn't mean letting people destroy you. Derek calls from prison sometimes. Collect calls I don't accept. Letters I don't open. He'll be out in 3 years with good behavior. I don't know what happens then. Maybe he'll have learned something. Maybe he'll have changed. Or maybe he'll just be angry that I held him accountable. Either way, he'll never have access to my trust again. Or my signature. Or my family's home. It's been 18 months since the closing that never happened. I got promoted at work last month. Senior prosecutor. I handle white-collar crime now. Fraud cases. Forgery. Financial exploitation of family members. I'm good at it. Really good. Because I know exactly what it feels like to be the victim. Every case I prosecute, I think about Derek. About the transfer deed. About how he looked me in the eye and lied. About how he was willing to steal our parents' home for a Tesla and a vacation. And I make sure the perpetrators face consequences. Last week, I got a letter from Derek. Against my better judgment, I opened it. "Rachel," it said. "I've had a lot of time to think. I know what I did was wrong. I know I hurt you and Mom and Dad. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want you to know I understand now what I destroyed. And I'm sorry. Your brother, Derek." I read it 3 times. Then I filed it away in a folder marked Derek, Prison Correspondence, and went back to work. Maybe someday I'll respond. Maybe someday I'll believe he's truly sorry. But right now, I have a case to prosecute. A son who forged his elderly mother's signature to steal her property. A family destroyed by greed. And I'm going to make sure justice is served. Because that's what I do now.